All right, so we're going to now try to solve this problem using a graphical solution using the Turtle graphics program. Um, so if we go to EduBlocks, I'm going to call this Tortoise and Hare. We need to import okay, we're still going to need random. And I'm not sure why turtle is not listed as an import statement, but we need to use the turtle library. Now what happens is we're going to create a variable for the tortoise and the hare, just like we did before. So I'll create my, I've already created those. So I've got a hare variable and a tortoise variable. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the, I'm going to create a turtle. Turtle equals turtle. I'm going to bring that across and I'll duplicate that. So these are two turtles. But I actually don't want them to be turtles. I want one to be the tortoise and one to be the hare. So the variable I'm going to use is hare and tortoise. So those variables now exist, and if I try running them, nothing happens. The variable exists, but nothing's going on with them. So let's take a look at what else we can do with the turtle. So we can create our turtle. We can do some things with our screen. I'm happy just with the plain white background. We can set colors for the screen. Color model, maybe that's like templates, I'm not sure what that is. Background color for it. And we can make our turtle go forward. We can change the speed of our turtle. We can change the shape of the turtle. So actually, one of them should be a tortoise. That's perfect. The tortoise, we'll make the tortoise one a turtle. And if you do a search, Python turtle shapes, you can actually build, you can create graphics and then make that as your own shape. So Control F, shape. Turtle can draw indicate shapes now. Oops. Appearance, the shape. So we've got an arrow, a turtle, circle, a square, a triangle, classic. Classic is probably the, I'm curious what classic is. Let's make a circle for the bunny. And we've got our turtle for the, so we'll duplicate this. And now I'm going to make the hare circle. And still not sure now that I've made those shapes whether it will run or not. Okay, so we can see there's a circle and underneath it is actually a turtle. So the problem is that they're both in the same location. So I'm going to want one of them a little bit higher up. So let's take a look at how we can do our so we got speed. We can make it go forward, but also notice that there's a go to command. So I'm going to say go to. This is the x coordinate and that's the y coordinate. So I don't want my x coordinate to change at all. So I still want my x coordinate to be 0, the same as the other one. And let's set it up a height of say 50 pixels. I don't know exactly how far that would be, but let's try running that now. Oh, none type has no attribute go to, none type. I make this mistake all the time. I didn't change the variable. So I want let's have the hare hop up to the top. So there was no turtle because I noticed that I've created a hare as a turtle and a tortoise as a turtle. I have a variable called turtle, but that has never been defined as being anything. So it was a none type. There's nothing associated with it. So it didn't know how to move this nothingness to go to 5, 5. All right. So now we've got our hare has moved up to the top of the screen. And the idea is I want them to move across the screen. I guess I'm not sure if my mirror, is that right? No, I think I want them to go across the screen like that. Problem is when I move my hare up, well, I guess that could be the start line. I don't know if I want to lift the pen up or not. That could be the start line, maybe. We'll leave it for now. The idea is, just like in the last time, we want to generate random numbers and have it keep going through until the distance has been met. So let's set our distance, make that a variable. And let's set our distance to some value. So let's say maybe 500 pixels. With the, that's not that far. We can adjust that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say while the distance is less than 500, so we want to loop. We could do while true, and then we can break out of the loop. Yeah, we'll do a while true, and then we can say when we hit our distance, then we'll break out of the loop. So while true, I'm going to generate a random number. So let's go to random. Let's make a random integer. So we're going to have to give a, let's make another variable for, we need to calculate the distance of the turtle and the, well, we're going to need to figure out each amount that the turtle will move and each amount that the hare will move in each particular thing. So we're going to need a variable for the movement, how far they move, and then we're also going to need a total variable for whether they've reached their distance. So I think that may end up being 4 variables. So I'm going to create a variable, tortoise move, tortoise distance, and then a hare move and a hare distance, and a hare distance. So we need to generate the move for each of these. So we're going to assign the variable. We're going to make the tortoise move, hare move, and the tortoise move. This is going to be how far they go in the first round, and that's going to have to be a random variable. So we'll be making a random integer. And it might be interesting. The hare has they go much faster, don't they? We could do the hare move goes from 1 to 10, 0 to 10. Sometimes he rests, sometimes he sprints, because that's the way the hare works, right? But the tortoise, we could maybe not make it random at all. Let's make our tortoise move at a constant speed of 5. So the interesting thing about this is that on average, we're getting values between 0 and 10. On average, it should be about a 5. I'm trying to think of, yeah, because if I add, there are 11, yeah. So from 0 to 10, the middle figure is exactly 5. You could get a 0. For every time you get a 0, the next time you might get a 10. With a 0 and 10 on average, that's a 5. So this gives us equal odds, I think, but this is going to show the hares like really winning and then maybe really slowing down, because that's kind of the way the race works. So these are going to be the values for our race. And I'm going to now need to make the turtle and the tortoise move by that amount. So we're going to take our turtle graphic and we're going to make our turtle move forward. Okay, so we're going to make our hare move forward and our tortoise move forward. But it's not going to move forward by 90, it's going to move forward by how much the hare is told to move. This is a variable called hare move, which was assigned a random variable. So we're going to have that move forward by the hare move distance. And the tortoise will move forward by the tortoise move distance. So this is going to keep running. This is going to be a race. It's going to, I'm going to just save this. Okay, and I don't know if I saw that last time I ended up exiting the program by mistake. I'm going to run this. This isn't going to end as the problem. So we can see that, oh, interesting, it stops at a certain distance. So the screen looks like it ran out of space. I don't know what that is. But what I want to do anyways is I'm going to check if either of their distances have reached 500. And if it is, then I'm going to break out and say that they've won. So I'm going to do some sort of I need to take this hare move and add that to the distance for each variable. So let's set the hare's distance. Oops. At the start of the race, the hare distance is 0 and the tortoise distance is 0. After I know how far they've moved, I can now add that to their distance. So I can say that once I know how far they've moved, I can say that the hare's distance is equal to, I have to add these two values together. So the hare's distance is going to be equal to the hare's distance plus how far it moved, the hare moved. Oops. So the hare's distance will be equal to what the hare's distance was, which was 0, plus how far it moved. Okay, and now the same way, the tortoise's distance is going to be, take the math, add these numbers together. It's going to be the, actually I could have just duplicated that and then changed the variable names. So I'm going to now take the, oh, somehow I lost, oh, I deleted too much. I wonder if I can undo Control Z. There we go. So what I want is take that and throw it in the garbage. Duplicate this one. I've updated the hare's distance. I also need to update the tortoise's distance. And that's going to be the tortoise's distance plus how far the tortoise moved. I'm going to move them there. And then, of course, I need to check to see if either of them have won. So those are conditionals. Logic, if. So I'm going to check to see if both the hare distance and the tortoise distance reached our, is greater than the finish line, right? So if, it's going to be an and statement. If both of them have reached the finish line, if the logic duplicate that. So I got to check to see if the tortoise's distance or the hare's distance is greater than or equal to the distance of the race, which we call distance. You know what? I'm going to call that variable finish line. rename it. Oops. I'll call it finish line. I think that might help us. So if the hare's distance is greater than or equal to the finish line and the tortoise's distance is greater than or equal to the finish line, then that must mean it's a tie. Else if logic else if just the hare's distance, because if both of these are true, then that's great, but maybe just the hare's distance is greater. So else if logic else if the hare's distance is greater than or equal to the finish line, I'm going to print the hare one. And I'm going to duplicate that. Actually, it should just be an else. I can say else because if it, oh yeah, no, it would just be because, and otherwise it has to continue. Else if the tortoise's distance is greater than or equal to the finish line, then the tortoise one else it's going to go back up. If this is true, it'll do a new random number and move them both along. And of course, if anyone wins, then we also have to break out of our loop. So we have to add a break statement. So if it's a tie, then we break. If the hare wins, then we break. And if the tortoise wins, then we break. Oops. And I think this will work. I'm going to save it again. And then I'm going to run it. Okay, so I don't know why. Oh, I wonder if we have to set the screen size. Turtle. Screen. Okay, well, for now, I'm going to set variables. I'm going to make our distance smaller. Finish line, I'm going to make it 100. Oops. And see if that works. It's a tie. Let's try running that again. It's a tie. I feel like something's going on. The tortoise won. Tortoise won. So I feel like the hare won there. So maybe I got a mistake in my code. How does the hare win? Ah, no. Oh, this has to, right now I'm saying it's exactly equal. I want to say if it's greater than or equal. So what was happening is maybe the random numbers pushed it over the 100. And so it would have went from 99 to 103, and then that wouldn't generate the, so let's try running that now. Tortoise won. Hare won. That looks better. It's a tie. Tortoise won. All right. That seems to be working. Now, I feel like I would probably prefer to move that when I have that, the hare go to that distance, I don't think I want that line there. So I can take my turtle and forward, speed, shape, color, pen up. So I can take, before he goes, I'm going to have my hare lift his pen up. And then once he's at the start line, I'm going to have my hare put his pen back down so he doesn't make that line, that start line. All right, so that's a little bit better. And I'm curious, if I look at my code here, if I come into Replit and I make a new Replit, Python with turtle. If I take the code itself, Control A, copy, and I run that. I'm curious if I run that here. That works fine, and I'm wondering if I make my distance greater than 100, if I make that 500 now, if that will work. I'm not sure if that was just something in the edgy blocks trinket thing. Yeah, it seems to be. So for what it looks like, the trinket window has a certain limitation. You can also, of course, experiment with some of the colors. I'll go back to my blocks. Experiment with some of the colors. You can make the tortoise green and the hare brown or something like that. Remember, the colors are red, green, and blue. I don't know what brown would be. But that's a simple example of how we can use turtle graphics to generate the tortoise and hare race. Okay, got questions? Let me know.